first of all, I'm speaking with Arica Dorff, and we're going to talk about a little preview of your program for Imaging USA 2021, which is virtual, right?
Yep.
And your class
Yep.
is called Let's Make a Profit. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I'm
Okay,
so excited. It's the first time I'm not teaching on pet photography.
Yeah, you're talking about making some money.
I know.
That's
it's
good.
exciting.
It's a good idea and a necessary thing too. But here's what I want to start off with. Where are you? California?
Okay.
Are you Santa Barbara? Where are you at right now?
I am. Are you stalking me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I follow you.
Yes,
I follow you pretty closely. You come up on my feed pretty often, so I kind of know where you're at and what you're doing.
I love it. Yeah. So I am, and if we don't have a good connection, it's not my fault. I hotspot. That's like my life now. So I'm in the hills in Santa Barbara, and my dog is laying on my phone, so I hope she doesn't cut us off. And yeah, I'm in my camper van. So I'm full time now since I saw you last, since we talked last. I built this, I moved into it full time, and I'm traveling full time, and here I am.
And your dog Gracie goes with you.
Yes, my bloodhound Gracie, she's the best traveler.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Not a lot of complaints from Gracie.
You should see her right now. She's sticking her head. Yeah, she's sticking her head out the window right now. She's very cute.
Okay, so that's been an adventure in and of itself, but I understand we only have like 10 or 15 minutes. So I would like you to give me a teaser, a little piece of what your program is about for imaging this year.
So I'm super excited because, like I said, I normally speak on pet photography, and I am doing that in a pre-con class. I'm doing pet photography and business and all that. But for my platform class, it's talking about profit and money. And I think this is like the best year, right, that we could focus on this. I know a lot of people struggled last year, but my big thing, and I did this for many years as well, because, I had my boutique studio, my retail studio, right, for many years. And my focus was always on gross profit. Like I was like, okay, we made 200,000 this year. I want to make 225,000 next year. And then I want to make 250,000. And that was kind of my goal, but I was never really paying attention to the percentage of that gross profit that was going to my paycheck, or the percentage that was going to taxes, or the percentage that was going to retirement, or the percentage that I was staying in to give myself a budget to not exceed for business expenses.
So you were focused on the gross, not the net.
Totally.
Not how much you were putting in your pocket at the end of the day.
No, totally. And it's like I had employees and I was paying them and I was paying myself, but I never understood my numbers. Even though it's like, it seemed as though I had a successful business and we just kind of magically made $250,000 every year, right? I paid my rent, everything was good, but it's like I still never really understood my numbers. So when I sold the business and I started doing something called Profit First, are you familiar with that?
Yes.
So it's the envelope system. Yeah, it's the envelope system online, and it's so simple.
Yeah.
It's so simple. It's just a simple money management system. But just by doing that, you're picking, well, what percentage do I want to pay myself? What percentage do I want to, grow profit in the business? What percentage do I need to set aside for taxes so I don't get hit with this huge, bill at the end of the year, $10,000, $15,000 that I'm like, oh, darn, I have to pay that to the IRS,
Well, and you're prioritizing too. There's a psychological piece for me in that you're paying yourself first. You are getting paid. Right. So as to avoid I've been doing this for 7 years and I'm $37,000 in the hole, which happens.
Well, that's the thing, right? So many people, Jed, they say, because I've heard for years when I started my business, make sure you pay yourself first. Make sure you pay yourself first. And I'm like, okay, that's a great concept, but I don't understand how that works. Because if I have rent to pay, right? If I have employees to pay, if I have bills to pay, well, I can't pay myself first. I have to pay.
Yep.
the idea behind this, the profit first system, is if you prioritize paying yourself, setting money aside for retirement, paying your taxes, growing profit in the business, you prioritize those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever's left over, that's it. You don't pay those things first.
Say that part.
You
say
pay
that part
yourself
again.
first.
Say that part again. Whatever's left over, because you're cutting out a little bit, which I understand. But whatever's left over, right?
Yeah, because I'm camping.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Whatever's left over, that's all that you get to spend on business expenses.
Yes. Right.
So most people pay their business expenses first, and then whatever's left over, they give to themselves.
Right.
Right. So with this system, you pay yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to run your business on that. So some people go, well, but what if there's not enough there for rent? What if there's not enough there to pay my employees?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that means you can't afford those expenses.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what it means. You can't afford those things.
So good.
Based on your gross income, you can't afford that.
Okay, so
right?
here's my first question. This what comes to mind, because everything you're saying is right. I agree with anyway. What do you say the person that is in that scenario and then says, well, then now what do I do?
Yeah, so it's not an overnight thing, right? You can't just go, I'm going to close down my studio and fire all my employees. I mean, you could do that, but you have you have percentages for everything, right? Because 100% of the money that you make, you're going to divide that 100% up into these different categories.
Yep.
Okay, so let's say we're going to do 50%, we're going to pay ourselves. Yep. Right. And 15% is going to go to taxes and 5% to profit. Yep. That leaves you like 30% for like business expenses. Right. Mm-hmm. But let's say you run the numbers and you go, oh gosh, my business expenses are 60%, not 30%.
Yep.
Right. So obviously that means that you're paying yourself a lot less. Right. So you just start tweaking the numbers.
You'll have to at that time. Yes. Right. Right.
But you just start tweaking the numbers. You go, okay, well, I've been able to survive running my business off of 60%. I can run it off of 59% this month.
Yep.
Okay, so run it off of 59% to give yourself that one extra percent.
Right.
And the next month you go, you know what? I ran my business off of 59%. I can run it off of 58%. And then you can slowly make those changes until you're paying yourself more and you're spending less. And yeah, at some point, are you going to have to make some hard decisions?
Yep.
About maybe you can't afford those employees. Maybe you shouldn't be spending $15 on packaging for every single, bow and tissue paper and things that you're presenting to your clients. Right. But you can slowly make those decisions if you just say, okay, I'm just going to change it by 1%,
Yeah. Well, and I think it's what I think it helps people do, and I might be saying this from experience, is that you start to see things clearly, or at least a little bit more clearly, because sometimes we don't see things because we don't want to see them, right? And if you're in like a big boutique studio and you're paying lots of rent or you have a really high mortgage, that's fixed, right? Like that's not going to go down. So in order to support that, you need a certain amount coming in. And if that certain amount coming in isn't enough, things are going to suffer. And the thing that's going to suffer is your paycheck if you don't make adjustments.
Your paycheck.
Right?
And that's the thing too, so the example I was giving was lowering your expenses.
Yes.
Right. And like the example that you're giving now is kind of increasing your income. Yeah. So it's not just, but for me, it's.
Yeah. Right? Well, that's what I mean. Like you need to do one or the other.
Yeah.
Or maybe, both. or maybe both.
Yeah, a little. Yeah.
Right.
But I think it's so empowering to understand your numbers, and it's so empowering to go, okay, out of this $1,000 sale, I know exactly how much is going into my pocket. I know exactly how much is going into retirement. I know that my taxes are paid. I know that my cost of goods are covered. It's not a guessing game. So
Right. But
I just like to teach it in a super simple way.
Sure. And what do you do when you run, and for yourself, how did you handle, well, because you went through this, how did you handle the realization when you had the boutique space, right? And you discover like, oh, well, one of the reasons why I can't pay myself what I want to pay myself is because it's all going to this space, right? I mean, at some point, did you not hit that decision-making process that you referenced earlier? What was that like for you?
See, I don't think I really hit that when I was in the studio, because I was in such a mindset of, I have to have this space. I have to have these beautiful chandeliers. I have to have these employees. It really wasn't until when I left the studio 6 years ago, you know, and I said, okay, hold on. I've had this, you know, business now for 9 years.
Yeah.
And yes, I've paid myself. Yes, the community is super happy. My clients are happy. I've employed these people. It's great. But I don't have anything in retirement to show for this.
Oh.
You know, and I was saving for retirement with my husband, right? We had a retirement through his job, but I didn't have my own retirement that I was saving. And that was kind of like, well, what do I really have to show for those 9 years of all of that hard work?
Yep.
Yes, like I said, yes, I have the wonderful clients. Yes, I have all of that. That's great. But I want to make sure I'm taken care of too.
Right.
You know, so when I started doing this super simple money management system, like the very first year I did it, I maxed out my Roth IRA contribution.
Perfect.
And I was like, cool, like I didn't even have to do anything. It just happened. And there it was. And
but you planned for it, right? Like that's the piece. Like,
of course,
you're setting things up and planning for it. And then, so on the back end of that, it's like, well, that just happened. Right.
Totally. But the thing is, the reason I love the Profit First system so much, and just to give like a little snippet of it, it's multiple bank accounts, right? So instead of having all of your money in one big bank account, you split up all of your money into smaller bank accounts. And like you said, the money is just there. Right. You know?
Right. Yeah. Because it's a system.
So, and you have a built-in budget.
Right. I like, in that piece I really like, because that's the part that scares so many people so often is even the word budget, but it's built into the system so that at the end of the year, there it is.
Totally. Yeah. No spreadsheets, no complicated like expense reports, budget reports, anything like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You literally just look at your bank account and go, how much is in there? How much can I afford?
I love it. What day is your program live? Do you know?
My pre-con is on Saturday. I think my class is on Monday.
So that's the 16th and the 18th, right? Well, we're supposed to know these things, but the 16th and the 18th are when people can check out your stuff at Imaging.
Yep. So I'm doing the photography class, pre-con, and then I'm doing Let's Make a Profit.
Let's Make a Profit on the 18th with Arica Dorff at Imaging USA 2021, virtual this year.
Yay.
And where can people find you? Real quick, throw a plug out where people can find you on your adventures right now, too.
So if you want to follow my personal stuff, because that's like the van where I'm camping, hanging out at the beach with my dog, that's just at Arica Dorff. That's on Facebook and on Instagram. But if you want to follow the business, that's all of my portrait sessions, my pet paintings, all of that. That's Arica Dorff Photography.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing what comes next for you, Arica. It's fun to follow you. Hey guys, thanks for watching this conversation presented by White House Custom Color on YouTube. Be sure to check out our other content and click that subscribe button right there. Right. Right there. It's there somewhere.